Okay, please welcome Sabrina.
Okay, hi, I'm Sabrina, and I'm a senior in design, and my Zenith project is resin art. So the medium I learned how to use is epoxy resin, and it comes in two parts, the resin and the hardener, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio, so you mix it in and put it in a mold. So these are some of the molds that I use. There are so many different things you can do with resin. You can mix in things like glitter or dyes, or put in pressed flowers or figurines. And it's just a lot of different things. And the working time is 45 minutes, which that just means that once you mix it, you have about 45 minutes to work with it and do everything that you want to before it starts to harden so much that you can't work with it anymore. And an interesting fact is actually that even if you put it underwater, it will still harden. So it's not drying. If I say that, I mean hardening. It's curing. Yeah, and then it cures fully in anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. So I started out by sketching out everything all my ideas, everything that I wanted to try out with resin, which this was very ambitious, but I just kind of wanted to experiment with everything. And so I ended up trying 3 different things, which are bracelets, pendants, and dioramas. So next I collected everything that I would need to put in the resin. So I started pressing leaves and flowers, and getting twigs from my yard, and 3D printing a bunch of figurines. So that's 3D printing a little fairy house. But there was a learning curve for 3D printing. My brothers have a 3D printer, but I do not know how to use it. And so here are 3 of my attempts at printing a diver, and the first one over there is about 1.5 millimeters large. And it did not look like a diver, so we had to try a few different sizes for that one. Okay, so after printing the little figurines, I would paint it, and kind of figure out the layout that I wanted to do, and mix sand. We had a bunch of colored sand, so we just prepared everything, and then I would pour my resin, because it is a chemical, so you wear gloves whenever you work with it, and I did get it in my hair a few times, and it was awful. But yeah, so, and then, yeah. A problem I did run into with the 3D printed things is that it prints full of air bubbles, which is not a problem if you're keeping it outside of a liquid, but if you are trying to put it in a liquid like resin before it hardens, it floated a lot, and it was, at first I was trying to poke it down to keep it in the spot, but that did not work. So what I figured out was, for ocean dioramas, I'm already putting in rocks, so I would just hot glue the coral to the rocks so that it would weigh it down and not float. And here are more photos of me, because you have to hold the things in place, here's a diver, or different things, hold them upright or in the position that you want them to be in while it cures, so that it will stay there. Yeah, and for this one, I did the kind of a gradient of colors, and then once it has dried, I painted on the trees. And then after this photo was taken, I swirled in a little bit of neon yellow to make a neon lights effect, and that's one of the ones that we're passing around. But yeah, and this kind of just shows how it's a lot about steps, which was hard for me to plan ahead, because usually I like to just sit down and do stuff, but I had to plan ahead and figure out the timing, because if I try and do a layer too early or too late, then it wouldn't work the way that I wanted it to, and so that was a lot of a challenge. Sometimes I would have to go to school or something, and I'd be like, no, but my resin's going to cure too much while I'm gone. So yeah. Okay, now we're going to start looking about some of the stuff I did. With bracelets, I experimented with putting in leaves, and that's fake gold leaf, not real. I'm not rich. And for this one, I cut up little twigs to create a forest scene, which I thought was really cute. For pendants, I did lots of different things, kind of experimenting with everything. Mixed in beads and glitter. I painted the flowers. Those are 3D printed and then painted. Starfish, real flowers, pressed flowers. And then for that one, Miss P gave me mica powder, and it's so sparkly, I love it, and then gold leaf on top of that. a little bubble texture, and an ocean scene. It was just, yeah, so I was just experimenting, and that was really useful for later. This is my kind of experimental piece. It is 2 pieces. I saw somebody do layer art with resin, and I thought it was so cool. So so what I did was in like one of my square molds, I didn't do a whole square, I did a flat one. And so I would pour a layer of clear resin, and then like paint a layer of the scene that I wanted to do. I did little like sky, sea vibe, and then like a koi fish, and then just like so on, so that. And then here's different angles. It's also being passed around right now, hopefully, so you can kind of see how like all the layers work together. And this took like I did 2 layers a day, so I would do it in the morning and the evening with enough time to dry in between. So this took like 5 days each or something to get all the layers together. So that was here's my final product. For this, it was definitely the most time-consuming of the resin things that I did, but it was really rewarding because I really like how they turned out. And then I also did dioramas. So I started out with really simple ones, but they really helped me learn a lot for like my more complicated dioramas. Little 3D printed squirrel, that's a origami crane, little chichinita with like these nice swirled like clouds. Yeah, and then ocean dioramas was really fun. I was kind of obsessed with the ocean diorama idea from the start. So coral reefs and lots of fun stuff. And a little turtle in that one. And this definitely, I had to learn how to like layer the resin so that I could suspend something in the middle instead of just having it on the bottom layer, which is how I got like the jellyfish and the diver in there. And that was fun. And then this is my big one. It is still curing right now. I actually do have it, but it's not like fully good, so I'm not passing that around. But it's very cool, and it's like this big, and it has a little shipwreck, swordfish, diver, and yeah, I'm really proud of it. This was a really fun. I kind of just got to learn new medium and like experiment all different things with it. So it was really rewarding and just learned a lot. So thank you.
First of all, these are beautiful. Like, so cool. I was wondering if you take requests on making some, because I've been looking on Etsy for guitar picks that are like flowers, but then whatever they're crystallized or whatever. And then, how hard would that be?
I do have way too much resin, so I definitely could, but I don't have the molds. So if you wanted to get a mold, I could make you some.
So the one with the diver, were the bubbles like on purpose, or did they just happen to be there?
No, there are ways to get rid of the bubbles while it's still curing, like heat and stuff, but we tried that. You'd have to buy a whole like heat gun, and I was not gonna do that. So I thought it worked in the ocean dioramas because like bubbles. Yay. Yeah. Thank you.
This is so, wow, it's like a little world. I love it. It's so beautiful. I was wondering which one was the hardest to make. Like, was this, like, besides the layer one, because that one took the most time, but was it like sanding down the, and also, wait, I changed my question. When you were sanding, what were you doing? Like, I always saw you sanding with your focus.
So I didn't put it in this, and the reason they're not all sanded, if there's any sharp edges, is because the deadline got moved up a week, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I didn't put in this presentation, but I did learn about wet sanding, which is like, is that 15 or 10 minutes?
You have 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it's pretty much you have to sand in a puddle of water, which is really awkward, but because you don't want to inhale the dust that it creates from sanding, but the water keeps the dust in the water, and so it's like safe. But yeah.
So what are the other safety things you have to consider? Don't get in your hair, dust.
Yeah, don't get in your hair. Other than like, I did this on my kitchen table mostly. So I would do I would cut a garbage bag in half and like put it on the end of my table, and like gloves. And if I needed to like get any materials from outside of like my working space, I would have like my mom and my sister grab it for me because you do not want to like touch things. Mostly, like, if it's hard, if it's the mixed stuff, you don't want to get it on your skin because it's not bad for you at first, but I forgot the word for it, but you'll get allergic to it if you get exposed to it too much. So I'm fine, but like I didn't want to like.
What about inhaling?
You're fine to inhale. I didn't have to wear a mask while I was working with it. Yeah.
Cool.
What inspired you to try resin in the first place, and what is your favorite one?
Pinterest inspired me. I was on Pinterest and people were doing resin and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I want to do it. And then, yeah. And my favorite one, I don't know. I really like this one and my night sky layer art.
And what are the costs of resin?
It wasn't too bad. I don't remember how much I paid, but it wasn't too bad. Yeah, we got the like gigantic. My mom was like, "You should get the 2 gallons." So we got a gallon of the A and a gallon of the B, and yeah. So, but yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Oh, why were you so drawn to like ocean?
Because we're 90% water.
True.
How did you like work with like the 3D printing? Like did you like make it like a 3D model?
So there's websites online where you can find models that people who are good at making models of 3D printing have made models, and then my brothers helped me to size it down to about 1.5 millimeters.
Does it matter what kind of paint you use for the models in the
I used
resin?
acrylic,
Just
but I
acrylic
didn't
is fine.
try other kinds. So
Like water